This is Barbara with Cana Girl Speaks podcast. My voice, your voice. Good evening, everybody. This is Barbara with the Cana Girl Speaks podcast, and I always open up saying thank you for always supporting the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. Thank you for watching us on YouTube, listening to us on any of the podcast apps. But thank you. And I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. I sure did. It was nice and peaceful, but I had a good Thanksgiving. But on this evening, I want to introduce a young man that I have known for a while. And I wanted to bring him on because he does some of the things that I like doing and all that. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Raymond Linex.
Hello, Barbara.
Hello, Raymond.
Thanks for calling me a young man.
Well, he's younger than me. But I wanted to bring Raymond on. Raymond is he's alumni of Corsicana High School, Corsicana. He's a hometown person, and I wanted to bring him on because he has been a part of I guess communications and all that, and a newspaper person, and so I wanted to bring him on to talk about who he is and all that, and what he's doing, his new career, old career, however you want to say it. And then just some of the things, just kind of talk to him. So why don't you tell the listening audience about Raymond Linex?
Well, I am from here. Moved here when I was 3. I was born in Dallas. Lived here all my life except 18 months when I lived in Italy, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, Italy, Texas.
I thought you were going to say Italy, the country Italy. Okay.
I told that to a cab driver in Lubbock once, and he kind of did a double take. And I told him it was Texas. When I lived there, I worked for the Arlington Morning News, which was a product of Belo and the Dallas Morning News.
Oh, Belo, yeah.
But 88 graduate of Corsicana High School.
Class
Probably our
88.
most famous graduate is James Gooden. You may know him.
Yeah, that's my brother.
And, outside of living in Italy for 18 months and working out of town, this has been my hometown. I actually came back in the summer of 98. Came back to Corsicana as the sports editor at the Daily Sun, and brought my wife, Tanya, who's a dyslexia therapist in the district, and our 3 sons back to Corsicana. And this is where we stayed, spent 20 years at the newspaper, ended up becoming the editor in 2000 and then the publisher in 2007. And I think a lot of people know that industry has been in decline for the last 20 years or so. And so in 2015, I went to work at Oil City Ironworks in their HR department, which was a great transition, getting out of the media business and kind of being out of the spotlight for 6.5 years. And in April, actually joined the school district, Corsicana Independent School District. I actually started talking to Dr. Frost in February. And, just to come in to help and write and be a part of the communications team, and was working for Veronica Johansson, who was executive director at the time, and had a really good 7-month run with her. I learned a lot from her. Veronica has a background in television news, very knowledgeable, really a go-getter. Was I don't want to say stern, but really pushed me, and I probably needed that. Yeah. I'd forgotten what it was like to have to work for somebody. Yeah. I'd always been a manager for probably the last 20, 25 years, but I learned a lot from her, and thought she would be here another year or two, and I could learn some more.
Picking her brain.
Yes, absolutely. I probably would have picked it more in those 7 months that I'd known, but she got a great opportunity, and her great opportunity opened up a door for me, and it became a great opportunity for not only me, but my family and hopefully the community. I love Corsicana. It's been my hometown. Covered the Tigers a long time ago. Been to school board meetings back in the day. I always would tell people it's a lot more fun to go cover football games on Friday night than to sit through a school board meeting or a city council meeting. And it's just all where your passion is. And I grew up reading about the Tigers in the newspaper when I was a little kid, and turned it into a career.
So what college did you go to?
My education is limited. I went to Navarro, and that's it. I thought I was going to be a musician.
Oh wow!
And
So you play instrument?
I used to play bass.
Oh, okay.
Next time you see my wife, I'll show it to you. It's around her left finger. But I actually went to Navarro, thought I was going to be a musician, and I found out all the kids were far more advanced than I was. They could read music and all that good stuff. So I ended up going to work at Brookshire's, thought I was going to be a market manager someday. And, I trace all of my ability in the public to deal with people, to treat them correctly and treat them right. I trace all that back to being at Brookshire's. They really preached that.
They did.
And then one day we were sitting at home, and there was an ad in the Corsicana Daily Sun that said, "Do you like high school football and want to make extra money?" And Tanya and I had a toddler, Taylor, our oldest son, who's 30 now. And I thought, you know what, I do like high school football, and I do need the extra money. And so I answered that ad. So, most of my experience is from experience.
Yeah.
Coming to the district, I talked with Dr. Frost about the fact that, I may not have the education background that most people do, but I do have the experience. And I think that's what played a part in me joining the school district.
So, with your experience and your knowledge, and so when you see these young people that are trying to figure it out, it seems like to me that you would have more of an understanding, because, sometimes in society, we want this for them, we preach this to them. And I was like, they'll figure it out on their own.
I totally agree. And I think, we probably went through a period of time in our country, I don't know, 20, 25 year period where, I think students at that secondary level were just taught that, had it ingrained in them. If they didn't go to college, they were less than valued.
Yeah.
And I think that tide has turned. CTE, our CTE program at the high school is really making a comeback with welding and auto tech and culinary. And those things are important. College isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we heard some of that last night at the school board meeting. It's not for everybody, and there are paths for everybody. And we need plumbers, and we need mechanics and those type of things. We need AC.
Well, it seems like the pandemic kind of showed us the need. They showed us who the essential employees were.
Right.
Because when the country shut down, they had to keep working.
Yes, and
police officers, your first responders, your, like you said, your plumbers, your electricians, and then of course when we had Snowmageddon, that really showed us, who was needed.
Absolutely. And in Oil City, I did not get a day off for COVID. We were deemed essential, and we worked every day.
Yeah.
We even carried letters around in our cars in case we got stopped. That's how serious everybody thought that was. I think it's important for kids to understand that there are different paths out there for everybody. It's not a cookie cutter nation, and our kids aren't cookie cutter kids. There's something for everybody out there.
So regarding our community, where do you see, I always try to, take an assessment of our community, and like from where we were in our, like when we were in school and all that, and then for like the future. I mean, we had our ag, students present at our school board meeting last night, and they, oh my God, my eyes was open when it came down to the House bill. It was
251.
251, and to learn about that, and about how the farmers and all that, and the farmers and the farmer and the land is needed, but then we have all these companies coming in, taking the land, building these houses.
Right. And
so it just made me think about, oh my goodness, the land is being infiltrated by all these houses, and then our animals, it just kind of opened up my eyes. And so, like our community, and then we have our young people, so where do you see, as far as the transition, the turning of the tides for our community, these small communities? What do you see?
I think we're in great hands. Corsicana is still a great place to live. It's a great place to raise your family. It's kind of like the news. You only hear the bad stories, but if you walk the halls of our schools, you see positive stories every day. Mm-hmm. You talk to these kids, and it just amazes you how much they open up and they can talk to you and have conversations with you. And, you know, I think when you think back to when we were kids, I think we thought we were grown up, even though we weren't, and probably needed to be in our mid to late 20s before we realized what we were going to do with our lives. But these kids today just amaze me. And I think the community's in good hands. You know, every community is going to have some rotten eggs.
Yeah.
And, but you take a look at the kids like in Ag Issues,
Yeah.
the Ag Issues team that we saw last night. But all of, you know, going back to Camp Curiosity last year to see what those kids did in the summer. Look back just a couple of weeks to the Penguin Project. You know, I did a couple of promotional videos for that. And one of the young men, and I won't say his name, but I was told, hey, I'm not sure what he's going to give you because he may have trouble communicating. He knocked it out of the park.
Oh, really?
We did 3 promotional videos. One of them was a 1-take video. And we had a 2-take video and a 3-take video, and I thought they were great. And if you haven't had a chance to see the Penguin Project, it's a great program that the school district has, and a lot of fun. And you really see how far kids are coming along.
I mean, we have kids coding. I mean, just to know that we have young people that can code.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is future to me. You know, because we didn't have our generation of computer technology and all that was just the basic stuff, but these kids are actually coding, and so
making their own games.
Saw 3 of those last night. So we know gaming is a big money making business now. You know, and so what about the generations? We have like the baby boomer. We still have the baby boomer generation, and we have the Gen Xers, we have the Gen Ys. So we have a mixture of generations that are in our communities, in not just Corsicana, not just our city of Corsicana, but we do have several generations in the workforce. And so, and I know you've probably worked in that environment where you've had several generations. And so how, as our generation, gets, I want to put myself in that, in a generation that's aging, how important is us to be able to relate to the younger generation, to bring them to the table, that, but that their ideas are just as important as the generation, the baby boomer generation, because sometimes I just think sometimes we miss the mark when we don't include them on conversations when it comes down to the growth of a community, how to bring them to the table to discuss the future, so how important is that?
I think it's really important, and I think it's just human nature for us sometimes to not be able to relate to the next generation coming up, whether it's not liking their music or not liking the way they dress or the way they wear their hair. Even though that's natural, I think if you have a good solid core of leaders in your community and in your industries, whatever that may be, I think you can make that transition. And I think we have that in Corsicana and in the CISD. You're right. I consider myself part of that older generation too. And there are things that maybe I don't like, but I won't say I hate them.
Yeah.
Because I try not to use that word. I think it's a really strong word. But I believe I'm very tolerable. And I think that's maybe not everybody in Corsicana is, but I think for the most part we are. I'm just one of those guys. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care who your significant other is. Don't care really about your views as long as we get along great. Yeah. You treat me right, I'm going to treat you right.
And that's how we were raised. I was always raised.
Absolutely.
You respect who was in the office. You respect, whatever your view is. And that's how I was raised. And so that's why I'm like, where did we get off track when it comes down to, bullying somebody because they didn't have the same belief that you had? Right. I mean, I don't understand that. And so when we get back to the basics, and then, now I'm on grandkids. And so I'm like, okay, so now we can start with the grandkids and teach them to, respect a person, respect their view. You respect them, they respect you. We can get back to that, back to the basics.
Just growing up and, being around James and other friends, I don't ever remember us having the issues that they have today. Mm-hmm. We just got along.
Yeah. Well, we know social media it could be the beast. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
Yeah, I've been telling people for about 6 or 7 years, I feel like it's going to be the Antichrist.
Yeah, but the thing is, just think about it. They thought the TV was, it was the one-eyed devil, right. and they, our baby boomer generation, they were the generation that kind of saw the integration of TVs. And so, it's just the involvement of a lot of things. And so technology and all that. And so it is the way of the world, and so you just like being here in Corsicana, you don't have issues, a lot. When I worked in the Metroplex, it was like, they thought Corsicana was like podunk, Corsicana. You know, we got cows in our backyards, and so you know, small town, you know, raising your family like Raymond it's a good thing. You know, Corsicana is growing. You know, we know, you know, it's starting to be landlocked going north. So we do say people are going to start coming here. And so are you excited about the future for Corsicana?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are growing. And, you know, even when I worked at the paper 20 years ago, the one thing that you always heard that was negative was housing.
Yeah.
You don't have enough housing. You don't have enough housing. And I think we're starting to see that tide turn a little bit, depending on how the economy does and the country does. But, you know, I think in a sense it's nice to stay small.
Yeah.
There's
sometimes it's not. It's just gonna probably hit us. Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it will.
I don't see us being as big as Ellis or Johnson County,
Yeah.
but I think we'll definitely grow. And you know, we should find out more next week when we hear some future demographics for the district.
Yeah. So why? So I know this weekend, and it'll happen after this airs, but. This weekend is the Heritage Bowl. So we do have a bowl game here in Corsicana. So why don't you tell them a little bit about the bowl game for this weekend? Yeah,
so we have a Division II college football game, college bowl game, Funtown RV Heritage Bowl. It's Saturday, December 3rd at noon. You know, this is a bowl that started in 2017 as the Corsicana Bowl. In the first 2 years of operation, it was run by a gentleman named Tony Talton. And after the 18 game, the community, in a sense, took over the bowl.
Yeah.
And Eric Bonner, Josh Tackett, Rich Cottrell, Rusty Hitt, Joanna Fritz, Clint Roddy, our new athletic director. He's been here just a little bit less than I have.
He's awesome. I'm gonna try to I hope I can get him on. He's awesome.
Clint's all business.
Yes.
So and Amy Tidwell with the tourism of the city department is with us as well. And this is my 5th year on the committee and 4th game. But we bring the Division II football is a little different beast. 28 teams make the playoffs, and for a lot of those teams, it's playoffs or bust.
Yeah.
There are 3 or 4 bowl games. I believe there was a 4th one added this year, and we're one of those.
Okay.
And we will pull teams from the Lone Star Conference, the Great American Conference, and the Mid America Athletic Association Conference. I'm going to miss that one up. MIAA.
Okay.
And we pull our teams from those 3 conferences. The LSC, the Lone Star Conference, is what we consider our host conference. And this year we have Texas A&M Kingsville from the LSC and East Central Oklahoma from the GAC. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for 8 people to pull this off every year. But, you know, with Funtown RV's help, Community National Bank and Trust, the Corsicana Visitors Bureau, we've been able to pull it off now every year. We are televising the game. This will be the 3rd year of that. It's all over the country. In 19, my first year, Eastern New Mexico beat Southern Arkansas, and I'm on the sidelines, and I get a text message. And it's from Chuck Williams. Chuck and his family are at Dave & Buster's in Dallas, the Big 12 championships on one TV. And he sees out of his peripheral vision the Corsicana Sea, and he looks over, and there's the fun. At the time, it was just a Heritage Bowl, but it's on the other screen right beside it at Dave & Buster's. So it's a big deal. It brings a lot of awareness to Corsicana. In the broadcast, we're allowed to have local commercials. The city of Corsicana has one, the county, the college.
That's good.
The CISD has one this year. You saw it last night. Produced and shot by RAD Designs, voiced by Philip Keltner, former coach.
I was wondering whose voice that was.
Yeah, it's Coach Keltner. We brought him out of retirement. Of course, he still does. He still does football games. He does. And so it just brings a lot of awareness to the community. And of course, we play it at Community National Bank and Trust Stadium out on the campus of the high school. And, you know, hopefully we'll have a great crowd this year.
Yeah.
Downtown pep rally Friday, 5:30.
Yeah. So that's exciting for our city of Corsicana, and those that, you know, are going to be watching the game. Just know, you know, it's a good thing for Corsicana. So we'll have visitors coming here, and so I'm excited about that. So Raymond, thank you for coming on the Cana Girls
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, he was like, what kind of questions? I'm like, I'm just going to bring you on your communications, so you know.
Right.
We just kind of ask questions off the top. So anyway, but I always give my guests an opportunity to give a shout out to anybody I'd like to give a shout out to.
So I guess I'm going to obviously give one to my wife, Tanya. Like I said, she's a dyslexia therapist here in town. 2018 Region 12 Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
And probably my sons, Taylor, Seth, and Colin. who, by the way, have made us empty staters. We're no longer empty nesters. We're empty staters.
They're empty staters.
Yeah, Taylor, my daughter, who's a daughter-in-law, who's a Brazilian, who's real happy about the World Cup right now. And go USA, by the way.
Yes.
They live in Windsor, Colorado, and then my other two sons, Seth and his wife Leah, and Colin, live in Orlando. Okay. So I'll give those guys a shout out.
All right. So Raymond, I wish you nothing but success in your new job. Yeah, he's now the executive director of communications for the Corsicana Independent School District. So I know he's going to do a fantastic job because he already has a lot of knowledge up under his belt. So I know you're going to do a good job.
Thank you.
And just continue to keep doing what you're doing. I know you're passionate about Corsicana, our community, and I know the Heritage Bowl is going to be very successful.
Thank you.
So those that continue to support the Cana Girl Speaks podcast, thank you so much. And just keep, watching, sharing, liking, and just keep watching me. But anyway, I just want to continue to say thank you. And everybody have a safe weekend and a good week.
This is a Legacy Recording Studio production.